thank you for meeting all of you, and thank you for inviting me to this presentation. I could probably share my screen here, see it works. Can you see it? If I can get the slideshow started as well. Does it
We
work?
can see it, yes, and now it works.
Good. Yeah. Happy to hear the other presentations here. We are a new company, fairly new company, only about 5 years old. So industrial scale-up company, but hopefully, and that's what we're aiming for, to be a future producer of decarbonized steel. And what we're doing right now is building. And I can also say my role is public affairs director in the company. I've been with the company for more than 4 years, working mainly with EU policy, but also to some extent in the global context as well, and also on the national context. I've been working with the sector earlier on, but fairly new, if only 4 years in the sector, and learning new things every day. So what we're building then is the first sort of commercial scale hydrogen-based iron and steel production plant in the world. And you could say it will have three different main components. It will be a hydrogen plant that will use then renewable electricity and water to produce then renewable hydrogen that will be fed into the number two part here, the iron making facility, where we will take iron ore and the hydrogen and sort of feed it into a so-called direct reduction plant that will then produce the iron that we will then feed the steel mill together with scrap to produce flat steel products. Something I also learned with the sector that there's a variety of different types of products, and in these different product categories, it's also a big variety of different quality versions. So I think that's something to also recall when we're talking about the transition here, is that there's also different types of products, and also there won't be maybe decarbonized products available for all these different qualities, etc., at the same time in the future. See if we can go forward here. And with this plant, we can then produce flat steel that is more or less 90 to 95% less carbon intensive when it comes to at least scope 1 and 2 compared to a blast furnace process. So we won't take away all the fossil emissions, even though we have a plan to reduce them further. And that's why we have mainly talked about green steel rather than fossil free, because we will have some fossils in the production, even though the production will be, of course, a lot better than the blast furnace. Just some also that we're now construction is well underway. We had some of you might be aware that we had a new financing round now that is closed, and so now we have all the funds and resources available to sort of finish construction and ramp up production. So this is what it looks like in end of May in Boden. So enablers for us for this was, of course, excellent conditions with availability of electricity at competitive prices, but also other resources in the region, such as iron ore and water. But apart from that, of course, there was some technology developments on this, both on the steel side and on the hydrogen side. But a lot of it was really created to link to customers' willingness to engage and to procure low carbon or near zero steel products. and also the policy developments increasing and also actually proposing to for real introduce a carbon price also in the industry sector. So we reached, you could say, financial close and took the investment decision around New Year's 23, 24 or early 24. And what really triggered that and made it possible for both then investors, but especially lenders who are the most risk averse in such a financing process, was the ability to show that there was a clear demand for our products. There was a willingness to buy these products, not only on short-term measures, but also actually entering into long-term binding agreements, also including a green premium on top of the sort of future steel price. So it was these customers that really then, by engaging in contracts with a company that didn't have production yet, that made the whole project possible. So this is more linked to how demand will be crucial for the future investments in the sector. And here you can see a variety of the customers in different sectors. And as you see, there's a lot of, since we make flat steel, there is a lot of use of that type of steel in the automotive sector. So that's where we have a lot of our customers. But also, as you can see, many of the customers that we have was also part of the assessment, the survey you have made at Just Shift as well. But I just wanted to highlight some, since I work with policy, it's interesting to see also the science-based targets, I mentioned them there, have been really a big driver as we see it for reasoning for our customers to enter into contracts with us, but also the evolving policy environment in EU, especially the Green Deal and the Fit for 55 package that was launched during the last term in EU. And now we see continuous development, maybe not always in the right direction as we see it. I mean, we had a really good scheme for carbon pricing. We know it's now under challenge, and we will see a new proposal come this summer, and we will see how much the Commission can hold the line and what member states can do to sort of, stay the course. We know that there's a strong alliance among the Nordic countries to stay the course on carbon pricing, but we also know that there's a big challenge from other countries in Europe on this, especially, of course, Eastern Europeans, but also a country like Italy. What's interesting on the demand side is the sort of, and of course, carbon pricing, we've had ETS since 2005, so it's not a new mechanism. But there's also evolving new mechanisms here, and that is sort of the lead market policies. We have both the Industrial Accelerator Act and a revised legal proposal on the CO2 standards. The Industrial Accelerator Act is focused on the public procurement and public support schemes of government. It's really the public money. What should that be used for? And there you have the proposal to have a 25% quota for low carbon steel in public procurement in sectors like construction, infrastructure, and also when it comes to civil use of vehicles. However, it's kind of hard to at this time assess what this really means, because the definition, as Anna was into here, that we lack a common definition of what really is low carbon steel or green steel or low emission steel currently. And this also is lacking in the legal proposal, and that is evolving in parallel. So I think that to really assess how impactful this Industrial Accelerator Act will depend on this definition, and that will also happen during this year. So I think really crucial developments in EU right now. On the CO2 standards, it's then a proposal. You could say it's to some extent also weakening the climate policy, But for the steel sector, this flexibility of sort of offsetting part of your end of pipe emissions with low carbon steel is sort of could potentially create a very strong lead market in the automotive sector. And here I think there is a better opportunity to really support the deep decarbonized steel, because the sort of the calculation mechanism automatically rewards the steel that is closest to near zero. The more you have reduced emissions, the more credits you get in a way. So you will steer demand towards the best climate performing products in that mechanism. But it's also in the legislative process, so we will not know actually what it will look like until the end of this year or early next year. Just for an example, I think worrying example of how crucial the actual definition is, that the first proposal, you could say it's not the legal proposal, but from the Joint Research Centre, the EU expert group supporting then DG GROW, the department in the commission that will put forward the proposal on the definition together with DG ENVI, is the first proposal they had was basically that all blast furnaces in EU would be classified as low carbon, meaning that basically this 25% quota would be absolutely worthless, since 100% of EU production already met the criteria. So, and also comparing here to other standards, I mean, we're together with Outokumpu, we're part of the LESS initiative. You can see it's a lot more ambitious, and also using a sliding scale approach, meaning that you relate also the performance to the scrap content or the circularity content, since it's easier to reach lower emissions with more scrap content. So ideally, you incentivize investments in all type of production, also the primary production. And I think commenting on responsible steel, it's something we're in close dialogue with. I think from a new company, our ability to engage is limited. We can't do everything, but we have a close dialogue, and we really support their ambitions. And also, they are also using sort of the same type of definition of low carbon steel as other initiatives, First Movers Coalition, LESS, etc., a sliding scale approach, which we are really supportive of. So it's probably something we will engage in the future. I will stop there. Thank you.